Starting this question, we should always read the prompt first. That's this right here that says that we are looking for the main idea of the text. And so let's read through looking for main idea. Many theorists distinguish between fabula, the narrative content, and Suzette, the narrative arrangement and presentation. In this film, the fabula is the story of the family, and the Suzette is the presentation of the story as it alternates between two timelines. But this literary theorist maintained that the fabula and Suzette are insufficient to completely describe the narrative. He said the systematic characterization of artistic phenomena, which is this whole idea of fabula and Suzette, he's saying seeing these two things as like a systematic formula, that discounts the subtle way in which meaning is created by interactions between the artist, the work, and the audience. So always pay attention to contrasting words that shift the discussion, because if you can follow along with those, you can often get the main idea. So in the beginning, we have the idea that there's fabula and Suzette, and we're hearing about that as something of like a summary. In other words, if you have those two elements, you have the whole story. Then we're hearing that there's this other guy who says that those two things are not enough to completely describe a narrative. There's more to it than just that. Instead, he says that those two things discount or only that systematic characterization, so only viewing it as a math equation, it discounts the subtle way in which meaning is created by these more complicated interactions. And the way it's named is as the interactions between the artist, the work, and the audience. So it's not just fabula and Suzette. There's all this other subtle stuff that any good movie maker or movie fan would notice. So let's go ahead and start looking at the answers to see which one matches that sort of description of everything. So there's this in A says there's this literary theorist who's arguing that there are important characteristics of narratives that are not fully encompassed by two concepts that other theorists have used to analyze narratives. That's absolutely perfect. So it's not just those two concepts, fabula and Suzette. There are other important characteristics. Okay, so we'll keep that. B, the theorists claim that meaning is not inherent in a narrative, but is created when the audience encounters the narrative, so that narratives are interpreted differently by different people. That wasn't really the point. Like, different people would interpret things differently, although that's probably true in real life. It wasn't really focused on, especially in that blue area. C, the storytelling methods may seem unusually complicated, but they can be easily understood when two concepts are utilized. Well, this is kind of saying that the two concepts is kind of the right way to understand things, but the whole point of the passage was that just those two concepts are not enough. And moving over to D, narratives that are told out of chronological order are more difficult to understand. They did mention a story that's told out of chronological order, but there's no mention of how, when that happens, it makes it tougher to understand. So we can easily get rid of that one. And the answer here is A.